What exactly is Sukuna's curse technique? Sure, he can cut things, but how can you explain the fire arrow he used against Jogo? Well, because Sukuna's curse technique is actually way more broken than we ever imagined. So for you to understand this theory, let me tell you how this technique is actually connected to the black box. The black box was actually revealed in chapter 230. When Sukuna and Gojo were, killing each other, Sukuna said that curse techniques are stored in a specific part of the brain, the right prefrontal cortex. Let's just call it PFC for now. So, what the heck is that? The right PFC, prefrontal cortex, helps you remember what to say and also deals with your negative feelings. Wait, how does a 1,000-year-old sorcerer know these modern medical terms? I don't know, maybe it's because of Megumi's brain. Since Megumi is now Sukuna's vessel, meaning Sukuna can access his memories. Anyway, Kusakabe refers to the brain as a black box system, especially when it comes to curse techniques. The point is, the part of the brain, or prefrontal cortex, is like a black box that is responsible for creating curse techniques. When you hear the black box, you might think it's some, like old, dark, cursed treasure box. But the black box we're talking about is much deeper than that. So a black box is any device that converts an input into an output without seeing or understanding the process. By the way, this black box concept is also occurring in artificial intelligence currently. Regardless, to make it super simple, just think of the black box like a magical microwave. And instead of food, we use curse energy and curse techniques. Now, imagine placing curse energy inside the microwave, setting the time and power level, and then hitting start. You don't know how the microwave creates radio waves or any of the crazy science and engineering inside. All you see and care about is the result. Food, curse technique, your output. That's basically what a black box is. It's a straightforward action and result process, and you don't know what the hell happened inside. Hence why the black box. It could also be called like an unknown box. They call it black maybe because it's so dark that you don't understand what's going on. By the way, black boxes are pretty much everywhere. From the engines in your car to algorithms deciding what pops up on your YouTube feed. Even more complex stuff like government operations or big corporate systems. And of course, even in your brain, the human brain. Kusakabe wasn't just making a comparison. He literally called the human brain for what it is, a black box. And yeah, so that's pretty much how and what a black box is. It happens and you got no idea of how it works. Or maybe Kenjaku really knows the true function of the black box. Because, this guy was literally a brain. Also, keep in mind that every human, meaning you, has a black box in their brain, including non-sorcerers. However, unlike sorcerers who turn cursed energy into techniques, non-sorcerers' negative emotions can create cursed spirits instead. For example, remember the bakery girl in chapter 30? Yeah, the one who Nanami helped get rid of her cursed spirit? I think the reason that cursed spirit exists was because of Bakery Girl's negative emotions. Probably her stress at work, because negative emotions, input, go into the brain, black box, and the output, cursed energy, turns into cursed spirits. Now, how does this black box connect to Sukuna? Remember in manga chapter 115 or season 2, episode 16 of the anime, when Jogo fights Sukuna? In the manga and the anime subtitles, a box appears before Sukuna, says the word open or fuga. So why did that box just pop up in there? To answer, let me show you something crazy I found in the Jujutsu Kaisen subreddit. So, in Japanese media, circles are used to cover individual letters or characters, whereas boxes or rectangles are used to cover entire words or phrases. This means black boxes and circles are often used in Japanese media to hide something. Wait, does that mean Gege is hiding something? Yeah, Gege is kinda sus cause he pulled the same move in the one-shot manga called Number 9. But in that manga, it looks like he's not exactly hiding something. The main character named 9 uses his powers called Cubicle, where he summons these weird and powerful boxes. Now you might be thinking, is this power the same as Sukuna's? Well, can't really say for sure, because we don't have much proof. But I have crazy theories about the black box. The first one was, to activate the black box, what if Sukuna has to say Fuga? which actually means to open, but it can also be translated to refinement. And refinement means two things. Number one, the process of removing impurities or unwanted elements from a substance. Number two, to improve or clarify something by making small changes. So the keyword, guys, is improve. Now back in Shibuya, what if Sukuna improved Jogo's technique? This actually makes sense since Sukuna's fire arrow, which is the improved version, was able to overpower Jogo's own fire easily because Sukuna removed the impurities or unwanted elements from Jogo's curse technique. Then that means the black box might enhance Sukuna's cursed energy to the point that it can mimic certain elements. Well, it's not actually to copy or mimic, but Sukuna converts or changes the energy and improves it. There's also a small detail that you probably missed that also might support this theory. In chapter 111, when Jogo brings out the 10 Sukuna fingers and feeds them to Yuji, if you look closely, you'll ask yourself, why do each of the fingers look like elements? I mean, look at this one. It kind of looks like it's covered in dirt with a small sprout sticking out. Another seems like it's made of rock. And another looks like ice. I can't figure out the rest. But Sukuna, like, damn, you really need a manicure. So, is it really possible that you can convert cursed energy into an element? Well, we actually saw this with other sorcerers like Kashimo, where his cursed energy contains properties of an electric current, to the point that he can convert his whole body into electricity. Another sorcerer with elemental powers is Urame, where he or she can manipulate ice. Wait, my dear cuter. Yeah, cuter, that's you, because, quote the anime, QTA. Cuter makes sense. I'm a cuter, you're a cuter, because we're cuter than the rest. Well, anyways, I'm starting to see a pattern here. Because Sukuna, Urame, and Kashimo all come from the Heian era, then does that mean that elemental curse techniques were already a thing way back then? But you know what? Sukuna can not only improve and refine other elements with the black box, he can also change the properties of curse techniques, which is possibly why he can cut through stuff, aka the Cleave and Dismantle. Yet the question is, if Sukuna can use other elements or properties by saying the magic word Fuga, why doesn't he say it when he's using Cleave and Dismantle? And so, what if I tell you it's because Cleave and Dismantle isn't actually a cursed technique. It's cursed energy. I know, so crazy. Now let me explain so you can understand. What if Cleave and Dismantle is the same as Kinji Hakari's cursed energy? Because Kinji had a rough cursed energy, and according to Gojo, Kinji's cursed energy has an edge that is kind of the same like Cleave and Dismantle, but the deadlier version. By the way guys, just so you aren't confused, cursed energy and cursed technique are not the same. Cursed energy is just sort of like fuel for the sorcerer's cursed technique. For example, Kinji Hakari had a rough cursed energy, but his cursed technique is Private Pure Love Train. So Sukuna doesn't need to say the word Fuga to activate Cleave and Dismantle because it's the natural state of his cursed energy. He can just use it or activate it whenever he wants. It's as if Sukuna's control over his cursed energy is so precise, it makes it look like it's a cursed technique. So then you might ask, but what about Sukuna's domain expansion? Aren't they supposed to be connected to a sorcerer's innate cursed technique? Another example is Kashimo. His cursed energy is like electricity, but his cursed technique is actually Mythical Beast Amber, a one-time use technique that turns his flesh to manifest any phenomena, such as electricity. If Sukuna's cursed energy is Cleave and Dismantle, then how the hell was he able to use Malevolent Shrine? So, remember what Nanami mentioned back in chapter 30? That a domain expansion is an area constructed with cursed energy? Well, so what if Sukuna used Malevolent Shrine to enhance the power of his cursed energy, which is theoretically the Cleave and Dismantle, instead of using his original curse technique? And you're probably like, how did he do that? Here's how. Because he's the goddamn goat. The real answer is, guys, because Sukuna has mastered the black box, my guys. It's unbelievable that it happened. And we have no idea about how it really works. Only Sukuna possibly knows. Okay, now, let's say Sukuna has mastered the black box and possesses a technique that can improve other curse techniques. He faces one major problem, if this is truly his original power. According to Yuki Tsukumo, if a sorcerer has a big stock of extracted techniques without external aid like Yuta does, then the brain would burst, meaning too many curse techniques will overload the brain. So how does Sukuna do this? Well, I have two possible theories about this. The first one, we can say that Sukuna can possibly open one curse technique at a time, similar to how Geto can use the curse techniques absorbed from maximum Uzumaki once. Kenjaku might share this limit too, because he also had multiple curse techniques. And if you remember, he can use them one at a time, but we didn't see him use these techniques all at once. Then that means even the strongest sorcerers have limitations. Or do they? Now for the second theory. I mentioned this earlier. Too much curse technique will overload a sorcerer's brain. So, I've been thinking, what if Sukuna literally built himself differently? And I'm not talking about normal workouts or anything crazy like the Saitama routine. What I'm spitballing is, what if, way back in the Heian era, Sukuna changed his soul just like Mahito did? Now that might sound a little stretchy, but understand this part first. Since according to Kenjaku, the soul is the body and the body is the soul, it probably means that the shape of the soul defines the shape of the body. Meaning if you change the soul, you can change your body. And since the brain, aka the black box, is part of the body, maybe Sukuna tweaked his soul to get the body he wanted. But unlike Mahito, who can change the entire soul, Sukuna was only able to slightly change his soul to change his body. So now that Sukuna has his ideal body, which is 4 arms, 2 mouths, and 4 eyes, yeah, the guy just wants more of everything. And yeah, he might not look that sexy, but when it comes to sorcery battles, this form actually works because its extra limbs and mouth have a huge advantage over other sorcerers because it doubles the speed of technique activation. Of course. So basically, Sukuna can perform at the capacity of 2 human bodies. I know some of you theorize he had a twin, but what if that was his goal? To literally have a twin-like body, or should I say, a 2-in-1 body? Because with this form, he can use multiple curse techniques. At this point, what if the same thing applies to his brain? Since 2 bodies means 2 brains, or it could be bigger, having the same capacity as 2 human brains. Now with this upgraded bod, he can juggle multiple curse techniques at once without worrying about overloading his brain because he's now a double-brained Giga Chad. And since Sukuna can also change his soul and change his body, specifically his brain, what if this is also how he can reshape his curse techniques? Theoretically, this could actually work because it can also explain how Sukuna can imitate any element in nature, but also why he cannot copy inherited techniques. I'm talking about techniques that are genetically passed down, which is black box can't process into a curse technique. Think of it like the Sharingan in Naruto. It can copy any technique perfectly except Kekkei Genkai, or abilities passed down genetically within specific clans. Now if Sukuna can't copy an inherited technique, this is another problem. But for him, since he's a double-brained Giga Chad now, he found a way, which is similar to how he changed his soul, but what if this time he can possess that person's body to acquire his target's curse technique? Since he's more powerful, he can find a way to break his victim's soul and turn that body to become his own, which was the exact thing that happened for Megami. Dude, Sukuna is just like a mastermind. Like, I admire this guy. But is that really possible? Well, bruh, we've already witnessed it like so many times. Like, Sukuna is capable of doing the impossible because this guy has a huge huge understanding of cursed energy and cursed techniques. Bro proves it with Mahoraga, Jogo, and Gojo. And right now, he's still kicking the asses of any person that even remotely knows Gojo, including his prize students. In chapter 253, Sukuna just easily punched Maki with a black flash in her stomach. The black flash is proof that he already has a huge understanding of the essence of curse energy. Plus, he not only understands curse techniques, but also the soul. Because if he knew nothing about the soul, how did he manage to split and divide his soul and place it into those nasty fingers and turn them into cursed objects? I could be wrong, guys. I'm just human. But if you think about it, given all this evidence, do you think it's impossible for Sukuna to tweak his soul to upgrade his body and brain? Wait a second, I just had another question you might have. If Sukuna can use multiple curse techniques, then why hasn't he used them yet? Because, based on what Urame said back in chapter 252, it's possible that Sukuna was not yet taking the current fight seriously. Meaning, the King of Curses, who's been kicking everybody's ass already, hasn't been pushed to the point where he could release a random technique from his black box. Well, regardless, whatever the reason is, even Sukuna's gotta be ready, cause if and when Yuji takes the stage once again, just imagine what if this time, Yuji will finally show his domain expansion. A domain that actually has a shot at destroying Sukuna, the boxing ring.